Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making some delicious Rocky Road cookies. So let's get started. First off, set your oven to 350. These cookies have no chill time. And now in a medium bowl, we're gonna combine the dry ingredients, starting with 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour, that's 200 grams. And today I'm using a sifter just because my cocoa powder is full of rocks. A scale is definitely the best way to have a delicious baked good that doesn't use too much flour. If you're using a scoop, that's okay, but just fluff the flour up and sprinkle the flour into your scoop, then level it off. Never scoop the flour, that's too much. Most of us know Rocky Road as an ice cream flavor. It's chocolate ice cream, fluffy marshmallows, crunchy almonds mixed together in a symphony of deliciousness. It's also a really good candy bar. If you're wondering where the name Rocky Road comes from, the dessert has an uneven texture and it kind of is very similar to the rough roads that workers would take to gold fields and various other places in Australia or California, wherever this was invented. There's debate. I also want half a cup of cocoa powder, that's 50 grams. Perfect. For some contrast, I'm adding half a teaspoon of salt. The salt will help you taste everything. And to puff things up, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. My scale is done. We're gonna sift this out now and make sure there are no lumps and bumps. And by the way, if you like my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new recipes every single week and you don't wanna miss out. Pure rocks, that would have been really difficult to mix. Push those through with the back of a spoon. My dry ingredients are all together. It's time to get our butter and sugar in order. So grab a stand mixer or a hand mixer in a large bowl. Into the bowl of my stand mixer, I'm adding 3/4 of a cup or 168-ish grams of room temperature butter. I'm making this recipe on a cold day, so I want to talk about room temperature really quickly. It is not the ambient temperature of your kitchen. That might be ice cold. It's a cold day, your countertops are gonna leach all the heat out of everything they touch. So you want the butter to really be able to indent when pressed. It'll bend easily, and if you feel it and give it a squeeze, it's pretty soft. It is not melted though, that's very different. And a half sticks. A lot of times I'll soften butter and it stays on the countertop for a bit, and if it's cold, I'll come back to it and it is hard, too hard to use, so you have to microwave it at 50% power in a couple bursts until it's nice and soft again. To sweeten these cookies up, I want 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, 67 grams, and 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar. Just pack it into your measuring cup or measure out 165 grams. Plop that in. Now we're gonna cream this up 3 minutes on medium until it is light and fluffy, and you probably are gonna wanna scrape the bowl down once. And while that's mixing, I forgot to whisk my dry ingredients, so grab a whisk. Mix, mix, mix. We want everything really nicely distributed. So, by the by, these cookies give you all the deliciousness that you love in that traditional Rocky Road ice cream in cookie form. You have a soft, chewy chocolate cookie, lots of toasted walnuts, and tons of marshmallows. It is crunchy, gooey, perfectly sweet, and really indulgent. So I hope you give these cookies a chance. I meant almonds, not walnuts. And while it's mixing up, I'm gonna chop my almonds, half a cup. So we're just gonna give these a rough chop. Whenever you're using any nut in a recipe, in my humble opinion, it should be toasted. That's gonna give you maximum flavor. So if your almonds aren't toasted, just pop them onto a baking tray, 350, check them every 3 to 4 minutes and give them a mix until they're slightly darkened and a bit fragrant. My almonds are all chopped, my dry ingredients are mixed, and my butter and sugar are super light and fluffy. I want you to see the texture because it's had quite a transformation. It's like a caramel cloud. Don't eat this, we need it for the recipe. To hold everything together, 1 large egg, room temperature if you can. No shells allowed. We're gonna mix this for 30 seconds until it's well combined, and also add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And I am gonna scrape the bowl down because the butter tends to stay at the bottom and the egg rises to the top as it's less dense. A little more mixing. That looks lovely. It's time to add our flour in 3 parts. We're gonna mix this on low. So part 1, part 2, and the last bit. I would only mix it for a few seconds and give it a good scrape. This is almost combined. It's a very shaggy mixture at the moment, but we have some mix-ins, so we're gonna let the mixing finish after everything else is added. To my batter, I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips. You could use chopped chocolate for this if you prefer. 3/4 of a cup of marshmallows, mini please. As well as our chopped almonds, all of them. Paddle attachment goes back on, and we're gonna mix this on low just for a few seconds to distribute everything. Lovely. Grab 2 rimmed baking sheets lined with parchment paper, and we're gonna get to scooping. Using a 1½ tablespoon triggered ice cream scoop, we're gonna gather our dough. And a little hint for you is if you have any marshmallow hanging out at the very edge of your cookie, I would just get rid of that and put it back into the bowl because it's just gonna melt. I'm gonna give them about 2 inches of room to grow. I don't know if Dreyer's is a brand that's like popular everywhere, but in California, it is a big deal. It's like one of like the nicer supermarket brands. And Dreyer's invented Rocky Road ice cream in California in the 30s. It's pretty cool. One of my favorite candy bars growing up was a Rocky Road. It was so good in my memories. I don't know if it's good now. Is Rocky Road not a thing outside of California? You can let me know in the comments if it's totally alien to you. These cookies will be delicious, but I want them to look really pretty. So here's the deal. I would take your mini marshmallows and either just cut them in half by splitting them. You could plop them on top. You could put a whole one on top as well, like this, but it's so poofy and big that it'll kind of just like fall off. So I find that a little split just by pulling them apart helps them stick better during the baking, and you still get that nice puffy, beautiful white marshmallow look. If you want, you could add some more chopped almonds right on top. A couple of chocolate chips too. This is all optional, but I just think it makes the cookies look a little bit nicer. And it's a fun final step. Chocolate cookies are so delicious, but they tend to look very unappetizing just because they're kind of like dark, crinkly, dry looking. They don't have that magical, beautiful chocolate chip cookie vibe visually. So we're gonna help them out. Add your chocolate chips in as well. My Rocky Road cookies are ready to go into the oven 350 for 8 to 10 minutes. The edges will be set and they'll be puffed up. In you go. If your cookies spread in the oven, corral them with a cookie cutter, and just like that, they're ready to enjoy. A gooey, chewy chocolate cookie filled with those crunchy almonds and fluffy, delicious marshmallows. I hope you get a chance to make this delicious recipe, and if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button and check out my cookie playlist.